Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Doomlings expansion. This is Legends of the Enderas. It's a variety expansion, so it's going to have a couple of little mini expansions here. Dinolings, Mythlings, Techlings, Fuzelings, and Treasure. So we've seen Doomlings, Mythlings, and Techlings before in like the very first expansions that came out. They were all little mini packs, and then they did put them in one bigger box so you could buy them. Fuselings were in the last variety pack, which mixed Moonlings and Doomlings together, and Deeplings. So they mixed those three. This is the Fuselings are instead going to mix these other three, the Dinolings, Mythlings, and Techlings. So we have two different types of Fuselings in the game now. Plus, he's kind of expanded on some of the other groups, which is kind of fun. If you really like playing with the dinosaurs or the Mythlings or whatever, now you have more cards to add to that. And then we have some treasures in here as well, which are going to be, I think, they're a new type. I think we may have had a type of treasure type cards before, but these are going to work a little bit different than some of those. As a reminder for how the game works, we had trinkets in the last set. They were trinkets, not treasures. That's what I wanted to remember. So yeah, how this can all be mixed in here. So yeah, we got in the back here, it's going to show we have Dinolings, be careful with the fragile giants. Big points come with big risks of extinction. Mythlings, cast spells in your opponents using arcane discard effects, other powers of mayhem. Techlings, behold the wonders of science and engineering. Make your strategy modular, detachable Doomlings. Fuselings, these three-clad combinations create awesome amalgamations. Robot dragons, tactical wizards, and more. Treasures, shiny treasures of the past, add a new layer of strategy to the game. Don't hoard these riches though. Spur powerful updates and new artifacts before it's too late. The base game is required to play. So although you might be like, oh, there's 5 sets of stuff in here, can't I play? Nope, you still need the base game because these are kind of like the upgrade and add stuff. They're expansion packs. But we're going to need that to be able to play through the game. So I'm just going to kind of zoom in on this a little bit. So here it says, the Legend of Enderas expansion can be played using the base game of the Doomlings and does not require any other expansion. Remain calm and immerse yourself in the past. You can quickly ignore the impending doom of the world. So it doesn't exactly tell you how to mix them in there. But basically, I think the idea is you can pick one of these and mix them in. If you want to mix multiple, you definitely can. And that's the whole idea with any of the expansions of this game, is you take the core game and you mix you mix a stack of cards. So it's usually like 20-some cards or whatever. Yeah, like 27 in the one set, 27... I think this one has 27 as well. So 27 in the main 3. Fuselings is a little bit smaller at 13. But yeah, then you mix them all. You just add one into the core set and add a little bit of extra flavor. If you want to mix all of this in there, you probably definitely can. It's just going to create a little bit more chaotic game. But before we hop into what's in this expansion, in case we haven't in a while, this is like the 4th or 5th expansion. So I remind what the rules are for the game and how to set up, so how some of these work. So we're going to have the deck set up. You have Aegis cards, which we're going to have. Each little set's going to have a couple of brand new Aegis in there. And that's going to have your trait cards as well. So we're going to have some of them. So the Aegis cards, you can mix with the other Aegis cards, and you'll have your catastrophe cards, which you'll then mix 3 of them in there, 1 to each of the stacks. So yeah, if we have any of these I think all of these just have new age cards. Well, they might have a catastrophe. Yeah, some of them have ages, some have catastrophes. So you can just add them into the mix of everything else. And obviously, if they have 2 ages they have a catastrophe, you're definitely going to add that into one of these 3. If they have the ages, you could put them into whichever one, or just, if you shuffle, 25 of them, but you're shuffling, deal 3 piles of 3 ages each, you're probably going to want to make sure they're in those piles. So if you're going to have 9 cards total, take the 9 cards, make sure these are part of them. And then you're also, for gameplay-wise, this is a kind of reminder how it goes. First player goes, Takes your turn, you flip over the new age card, you do whatever it says, all players are affected by it. End of each thing, you'll have a 3 catastrophe. At the final catastrophe, you do the World's End trigger. During your turn, you place 1 trait from your hand face up in front of you, trait pile, and how you earn points. Organize the tableau over all cards the same color, the same point values revealed. Some have traits, then you stabilize your hand. Stabilize your hand depending on your game pool. So if you have 5, you have to have 5 cards in your hand at the end of the turn. So either you drop the 5, discard, or you stay the same. So then you end your turn. And now you go over. So basically, that's just a quick thing there. There's scoring and stuff. I'm not worried about that. I just want to make sure we went over how to set up for mixing these in there, and then how to mentioning how the stabilizing works, because sometimes these cards mention stabilizing, so that's always helpful. On the back, there's a bunch of QR codes if you want to scan it for those things. That's your call. Alright, so let's hop into this. We have Dinolings. They're going to have a little egg shape. So you have 21 traits, 3 dominance, 2 age cards, and 1 catastrophe. Through advanced scientific techniques, paleontologists on Enderas have unearthed discoveries concerning the Dinolings. Turns out their anatomy, behaviors, and other adaptations were just, like, super cool. The Dinolings are rumbling back from the past with mechanics that dig through the discard pile. Will be characters fragile giants. The big points come with high risk of extinction. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what we have here. We have Titanic, which is a yellow card. Interesting. Icebergs. I love this stuff on here. So we do have our numbers over here. So 1 for 20 for dinos. So we know where it goes in that set. That's just the Legend of Enderas to keep it separate from the other Dinolings. To play, you must discard a total face value of 5 or higher from your trait pile using any number of cards. Titanic cannot regenerate tissue. We have Gentle. So multicolored card here. Or maybe just a purple card. Maybe that's just a background that's throwing me off. It's another dominant trait. We have, oops, I think I stepped on something. To play, you must discard face value 2 or higher from your trait pile. Opponent discards 1 card from their trait with a higher face value. Holy Bones. I'm not fact, I'm just hollow boned. To play, you must discard 1 positive trait card from your trait pile. At World's End, choose a color. One must discard 2 cards from the trait of that color. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Then we just have our regular traits. We have Cursorial, Wedge for days. They're gaining their wedge to walk on land. Lumbering, big moves with fewer steps. Plus 1 to your game pool, your opponent stabilizes to your game pool. The Meso Predator. Look, if I don't eat, my boss is going to eat me and you. Look, if I don't eat you, my boss will eat me and you. To play, you must discard 1 trait from your hand. Must discard 1 from your trait pile. Help learn how to read, right? Plastron. Turtle Recall. Instead of Total Recall. That's funny. At World's End, you may discard 1 card from your trait pile or play the top card from the discard pile, ignore its action. For our green ones, we have a Carnivore. A healthy, balanced meal includes meat with 2 sides of meat. Discard all Dinolings from your trait pile. So this is where they're talking about how they're fragile, or might mess stuff up. So yeah, you get this big giant card, but you have to discard all your other dinos. That's kind of neat. Colossal. There's always a bigger dino, and that's me. To play, you must discard a face value of 5 or higher from your trait pile. It cannot be removed from your trait pile. Dino Wrangler. Get along, little steady. Play 1 Dinoling from the discard pile. Play its action. Fiddlehead. Call me Fiddlehead again, I may get violin. I love the little jokes. Oh, we have a Swarm card. I like Swarm cards. We're here for the new tablet. That is equal to the number of Swarm traits in all trait piles, including this one. It's always fun to add these in as the expansions, just to compile on to having more traits later on. We have an Herbivore. Maybe try eating things that don't run away. Much easier. You may play Herbivore after you stabilize if the top card of the discard pile is green, and draw 1. Stompy. My feet do one thing, and that thing is loud. To play, you must discard face value of 5 or higher cards from your hand using any number of cards. Do not stabilize. Thunderous. Life is thunderful. They're cute. Imprinting. We have some purple ones. So not always even number for each color, it looks like. Nice to meet you. I love you. Let's stay together forever. The value is equal to the top card of the discard pile. The Omnivore. I prefer my eggs easy. To play, you must discard 1 face value of 1 or higher trait from your pile. Terrifying. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm just trying to eat you alive. I'm sorry. Discard your hand. Your opponent discards 1 Dinoling from their trait pile. Add Venomous Projection. I can see no evidence that species actually spits venom because I am now blind. You move 1 negative trait from the discard pile to an opponent's trait pile. Then we have red. We have Insatiable. My favorite food is more. Discard all Dinolings from your trait pile, excluding this one. Oh, we got a new kidney with a theropod. Kidney's value equal to the number of kidneys in your trait pile. Rough Rider. All my battles have taught me that this is fun. Whee! You may play Rough Rider when you play a Dinoling. The Rumbler. The last guy who gave me a high five got squished. -2 to the gene pool. Your opponent stabilizes to your gene pool. And Trabecular. I'll take Bone Structures for 200. Then we have our Aegis cards. We have the Carbon Boom. Draw 2 cards from the top of the discard pile. If it is empty, draw from the trait deck. Age of the First Burns. If you have 7 or fewer traits in your pile, you may play 1 effectless now. And then our Catastrophe is a Noxic Event. -1 to the gene pool. Discard all face value 3 or higher cards from hand, then stabilize. World End. -7 if your trait count is higher than 20. Ooh, so if you have a lot of cards, you're actually going to lose some stuff. Very cool. Those look fun. That's definitely an interesting thing. Fun, different cards. Let's look at our next one. We're just going to hop right into there. So we have Techlings. 21 traits, 3 dominance, 2 ages, and 1 catastrophe. Explore the abandoned silos and reveal ancient technological beings that once sculpted the life on Enderas. After a youth, these powerful techies have found new ways to modify and enhance themselves. Techlings use the attachment mechanic. The rules can be found on the back of this card. Recommend you familiar yourself before the base game before adding these to your deck. Alright, so for attachments. Play directly into your trait pile unless stated otherwise. Look for this symbol, 2 gears. To play an attachment, it must be attached to a host, even if they played randomly. If there are no suitable hosts, discard the attachment. Host. Attachments cannot host attachments, 1 attachment per host. If the host is swapped or sold and the attachment sticks, discard or return, discard the attachment. Dominance. Unless stated otherwise, dominance can't be host attachments. A dominant trait attaches a host is 1 dominant. Okay. Random removal. Attachments cannot be considered for random removal if the host trait is selected. See above, it removes it. Trait and color count. Attachments count towards your color and trait count in face value. An attachment alters a host variable base value. Count its new face value and its drop life bonus total. Okay, so interesting. We have some enchantment or attachments on here. Alright, so here's our first one. We have Dominant Solar Powered. Backed by a billion-year, 36,000 mile limited warranty. Attach. That is equal to host face value. So it's going to have the little attach icon, and now you attach it and it becomes that. But now it's basically making that thing dominant. We have Steam Powered, blowing off steam, then your face. Attach if host is blue, you get +1 gene pool. Green, play another trait. Purple, play an action card in your trait pile. Or red has +2 face value. That's neat. Like where you have options. That's pretty cool. I always love options. Stimulated Intelligence. Put me in a box, feed me Chinese, and I'll tell you the meaning of the universe. At World's End, if you're tied for the highest trait pile count, play another trait. Otherwise, discard one from your trait pile for each opponent with more traits than you. Okay, cool. We have the blue ones here. I love the backgrounds are different on each cards. Back propagation. If at first you don't succeed, or even if you do, try again. Attach host values base value is now 2. So now this doesn't add to it, it replaces it. At World's End, you may move this attachment to another trait in your trait pile. Chrome, smooth, shiny, and totally a choice. Cryogenics, preserving what we love by freezing it. He's a snow globe. Attach when a trait enters your trait pile, you may attach cryogenics to it. Host value is now 1. Speech recognition, the best speech to text translator on the market. Attach add the face value of 1 card in the hand that shares a color with this host. Exclude dominance. We have bionic leg, not legs, just 1. I'm saving up for the other one. Until then, I'm stuck with this pesky robot limb. Oh, that's funny. He's saving up for another regular limb. That's funny. Attach host value is now 4. We have biotech. The science is nurturing nature. Terrarium. I ate a watermelon seed and now they're growing in my brain. Please help. Attach +1 for each trait of the same face value as the host. And then Tinkerer. Proficient with thingamajigs, decent with whatchamacallits. When you attach a trait to Tinkerer, you may play another trait. Filament. I just got an idea. It's going to be lit. Attach for +3 for each dominant in your trait pile of the same color as the host. The Junker. I can't stop eating garbage. Draw a Techling from the discard pile. You may now play it. Bip wop. We got another kidney with a tinfoil hat. Is equal to the number of kidneys in your trait pile. Lightweight. They'll laugh when I said a hot bag would carry me across the sea in a magical sky basket. And we get the swarm in this one. We are the new phone. Oh, that's why we're here for the new phone. And this is we are the new phone. That's cool. I like that. References. Actuator. I'm gonna get you. You may remove 1 attachment from your trait pile and attach it to a trait in any trait pile. No, what do you mean I have no value? Springy, spraboing. Attach to a trait in any trait pile, then steal the host. Transistor, 1 bad switch. Attach all opponents, discard all cards from their hand that share a color with the host trait. Corroded, a victim of time's gentle rust. Attach to the trait in any pile, then play another trait. Modular, how much of me am I once every part has been replaced? And with this final thought, the robot's neural parts were yanked and trashed only to be replaced with a calculator. You may remove 1 attachment from your trait pile and attach it to a trait pile of any other trait. Refurbished, a shiny toy. New crossed out. Attach. If the host is purple, +2. Red, +3. If the host is a Techling, +1 for each card in hand. So we only got 2 cards that did that. I wish there was more that would have done that. Had pluses for certain things. We have tread heavily. Attach may play another trait that shares a color with the host. For our ages, we have Industrial Revolution. On your turn, you may play an attachment. If you play an attachment, you may play another trait. Age of Stability, you may stabilize to 5 immediately. And our Catastrophe is Planned Obsolescence. Gene Pool -1. Discard from your hand for each Techling in your trait pile. Then draw 1 for each discard. At World's End, discard 2 attachments in your trait pile. So, like these, like some of the dinosaur ones too. If you're playing with just the 1 expansion, you're going to come across these more often. You can always put these in the top half of the deck so you make sure you get them. if you're playing with like this entire box, you're playing with 4 extra sets. You'll probably just mix all 4 of these together and put them on the top, but you might need some of the other catastrophes and age cards. You might not even. You might need some of the age cards. You might not even need the catastrophes. There might be enough. Here's 3 of them at least. Here's 4 of them. So you can use all 4 of these catastrophes. But the thing is also, like, if this is your first catastrophe versus your last one, you know, if you have more stuff you have mixed in, the harder it's going to be to get stuff to actually be able to use this. So it's always the risk of that. Alright, our third expansion is Mythlings. 21 traits, 3 dominance, 2 ages, and a catastrophe. Scholars of bygone eras describe time of the Mythlings, a time when you needed were simpler things, a sharp sword, a personal courage, pretty curses, and maybe a pet dragon. The Mythlings are collected filled with magical spells and mischievous tricks. Pay attention to the discard effect on the card's sparkly new spell icon. And they have on the back, some Mythlings can be attached to hosts through traits of magical beings. Cards with the attachment tag to have the double gear symbol. Read the Techlings. Ooh, that's cool. So that's actually neat, because then like that'll work with this too. Your attachment to your discard pile. So that's kind of fun that we have cards that may attach in here as well. Our first dominance is Sorcerer. Alaka Smoke Bomb. World's End you may stabilize to 8. The Chronomancer. So many moves to make, but who has the time? Oh wait, I do. Play another trait, take the World's End, take another turn. The Summoner. There's someone who summons some things. Discard up to 3 cards from your hand, then play 1 for each discarded card, ignore actions. Enchanted. A sword to make someone a hero, a villain, or like 40% cooler. Attach if a host is a myth, +3 if it's a mythling. If enchanted is discarded from your hand, you may attach it to a dominant. Ichor. Not recommended for mere mortals. Start your turn, you may discard Ichor from your hand to draw 2. Malicious. I don't like you. My scythe doesn't like you either. Choosing an opponent, they discard 2 cards from their hand at random. Wicked. My intent is unjust, my heart is impure. Then we have Entangled. This is kind of neat. The spell ones, notice the spell ones have a different border on them, so you know that they're spell effects. That's kind of cool, that they just made it a little bit easier. No, you're not locally real, man. Start your turn, you may discard Entangled from your hand. If you do, discard 1 card from your hand and draw a card. We have Fizzled, a key component of the worst potions and the best soft drinks. Foresight. My friends, the future is bright, mainly due to the nuclear bomb. At any time, maybe discard Foresight from your hand to peek at the next age. Spike. Combining a nightmare. Yeah, it's something combined with Medusa. It's interesting. This spike is discard from your hand. You may play it to an opponent's trait pile. All players receive +1 game pool. Vigilance. I watch because I care about shooting stuff. Discard 1 card from your hand, then play its action. Tabulator. Any harm I cause is justified. Cursed. I broke a mirror under the witch's ladder last Friday the 13th. Attack. If cursed is discarded from a hand or trait, it's attached to opponent. Attach it to an opponent's trait. Ghostly. The ghost with the most. If Ghostly is discarded from a hand, play it immediately. If it's discarded from a trait pile, pass it to an opponent's hand. Warlocky. Made a blood pact with a demon under a moonless night. It was pretty cool and there were no consequences. On your turn, you may discard Warlocky from your hand to play it when you play a trait. If you do, play another trait of the same color. We have Cyclopean. I can't see at night. Dark magic. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice a couple of eggs to materialize an omelet. On your turn, you may sacrifice dark magic from your hand when you play an effect list. If you do, play an action of any trait pile. Enraptured. Check out my following. Enraptured is in a discard from hand, may steal one face value from opponent's trait pile. Just lots of the magic cards have negative effects. We have a kidney with a wizard hat. And we have a swarm. We are here for the seance. I love the swarm cards. Alchemiel, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Alchemical. If Alchemiel is discarded from your hand, announce it. Player resolves all effects. Then opponent discards half their hand half their hand at random. Incantor. If you're going to regret bullying me after I read my 12,000 line incantation. After your hand is empty, you may draw 4 cards and play another trait. Satirical, like a satyr and then satirical. The world's doomed and that's hilarious. You may discard a Mythling from your hand to play another trait. Our ages are open portals. Discard 2 cards from hand or 1 at random. If this effect empties your hand, draw 3 cards. Age of the Lost Dragons. Draw 3. Discard them or all your other cards in your hand. And our catastrophe is the discovery of magic. -1 to the gene pool. Discard 3 cards from your hand and stabilize. Do not discard Mythlings. At World's End Appeal, any Mythlings add your space value to your final score. Cool. Alright, then up next we have our 4th expansion, which has all 3 symbols, which are Fuzelings. Alright, Fuzelings are a little bit smaller size. 9 traits, 1 dominant, 2 ages, and 1 catastrophe. Dinosaurs, wizards, and robots. Oh yeah! Fuzelings are combinations of Dinolings, Mythlings, and Techlings. Doomlings are adaptive creatures, and in a little time they've had, they can gain multiple attributes. Use the Fuzelings to get bigger bonuses from the drop of life effects and trigger new combos. Alright, so then we have the 3 symbols on the side there, so they'll trigger any of these for the effects. So you can always just mix this in with some of the other ones. Slumbering. Sorry, I overslept. Is it in the world already? So we have... At World's End, discard 1 card from hand. If the card is purple, discard up to 2 cards from your traits. Red, add space value. Green, play a trait. Blue, +5. Destructive. Oh no, these flowers are stuck in the ground. I better help. Discard 2 cards from your hand at random. Opponent discards all effect lists from hand. Misty. A missed opportunity. To play, you must discard 1 effect list from your hand. Do not stabilize. Majestic. I picked this flower for a friend. Can that friend be you? Play every effect list from your hand. Fossil Fueled. Extinction is only the beginning. When you attach a card to Fossil Fueled, you may play 1 card from the top 5 cards of the discard pile, ignoring actions. I like how I have, like, the border has, like, the slashes for the dino, and then has, like, the tech border, and that's kind of cool. That's kind of like the mixture between the two. Animatronic. Robot dinosaurs. Also pizza. Attach a post is blue, +1 for each dino in your trait pile. Green, +1 for each Techling. Instant attachment. That's awesome. Mecha Jaw. Eye laser sold separately. Attach to any trait in any pile at +5 if the host is a Dinoling. We have Gizmo. Does whatever it wants to do, or whatever it does whatever you want to do, or whatever it wants to do, or whatever. Attach. If the host is green, preview the next stage. Purple, stabilize to 6. Blue, draw 2 cards. Red, play +2. Then play another trait. The Automaton. Processing your command, my lord. A +3 if Automaton has an attachment. Techno Magic. Sufficiently advanced. Draw 2, then you may play a Mythling or a Techling from hand. Our age cards are 1,000 Years Slumber. Draw 1. If you played Slumberling this age, you may draw 4 and play another trait. Return of the Ancients. Instead of taking your turn, you may draw and play 1 card from the top 4 of the discard pile. And our catastrophe is Titan's Call. +1 gene or -1 gene pool. you have any dominants in your trait, discard all but one of them. World's End. If you have +3 dominant Mythlings, Dinolings, or Techlings in your trait, in your pile, +6 if you have 2. That's pretty cool. Those are our 4 basic little mini expansions to be added in normally. Then we have a special one here. We have Treasures. It says, while rifling through the text at the living library, a piece of parchment floats to the floor. You have stumbled upon a map of Enderas, one with curious glyphs marking several locations. Who knows what these might be hidden there. The treasure expansion adds a level of strategy to Doomlings. Don't hoard treasures, you can't take them with you. Once the world ends, rushing the battle, mutate traits, echo your plays, adapt your actions, cloak from danger, and discover the real treasure, the friends we make along the way. So each different color. And then, behold, the treasure grant unique abilities which greatly alter the course of your destiny and thus your points. You'll want to comfort these base game before handling these mystic artifacts. Alright, so we do have rule cards, and they gave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rule cards in there. So we can keep track of those so you can give one to every player. Treasures are powerful artifacts of the past. Treasures keep hidden from other players. Use them to fund big plays and enrich yourself with more precious points. Setup. Shuffle the treasure deck and place the deck face down. This is the treasure pile. Deal 1 treasure to each player. So they're going to have a special treasure back. So you can easily tell that that's what they are. Gameplay. When age is revealed, draw 1 treasure. If you have fewer than 2. Treasure is not considered to be part of your hand for game effects or stabilizing. You may use any number of treasures on your turn. Most treasures have 2 effects. Use one effect per treasure. Coffer pile. After resolving the treasure effect, place it face up in a pile next to the treasure pile. This is the coffer pile. If the treasure pile ever runs out, shuffle the coffer face down. Start a new pile. When the final catastrophe is revealed, immediately discard all treasures. To learn treasures, we might suggest easy mode. Shuffle the treasures, then deal 3 to each player. Do not draw more treasures. You only use treasures you get for the rest of the game. Use them wisely. Okay, so the idea of that is you start with 3 treasures as opposed to potentially drawing 1 every round. So you start with 3, so you gotta start some options right away. Cool. So we're gonna go ahead and hop into them. We're gonna flip to the back first. We have treasure glyphs. So we have red rush cards. For the start of your turn, play rush effects. There are a variety of rush effects. Mutate. Start of your turn, choose 1 trait from your trait pile. Mutate it by placing it on the bottom of the trait deck. Then play 1 trait of the specified color to replace it. Echo. After playing a trait with the specified color, you may echo it by playing another trait of the same color. Adapt. On your turn, play a trait with an action and ignore it. Then adapt it by playing the action from any trait pile of the specified color. Treasures can also have effectless traits. And cloak at any time. Play in response to a specified non-dominant effect. Cloak yourself by preventing entire. Prevent age, traits, and treasure effects. Cool. 3, 4. So they're not all equal number of cards for each one. So that's very interesting. We have a lot more rush than we do other ones. Alright, so we have FWIP. Flip. There's a giant story on here. I'm not going to read all the stories out loud. You can go ahead and pause them if you'd like to read all those. But it says, rush, return 1 dominant in your trait pile to your hand after to play a different dominant. Or rush, draw a card. So you can play, so again, if we go back to the rules here. Gameplay. When age is revealed, draw 1 card, but treasure not considered part of your hand. You may use any number of treasures on your turn. Most treasures have 2 effects. Use 1 effect per treasure. So you can either draw a card, or if you have a dominant, you can return 1 and play another. Which only makes sense if you have an extra dominant. Oh, this is why it says, I've just kind of read this. What is flip? Flip is the sound the sword makes when you slash it. It's an onomatopoeia. That's kind of funny. Ardent grip. So here we have Rush, set your gene pool to 5 or draw a card. We have Coda, decrease gene pool by 1 and play 1, and then or draw a card. Krona, the young Mance. She becomes a Chronomancer. Rush, draw the top 3 cards of the discard pile or draw a card. The Soul Weaver. Rush, discard 3 cards from your hand. Play 1 effectless for each discarded card, then stabilize and skip your turn. Or draw a card. Summit. Play the top card of the discard pile, ignore actions, or draw a card. Just like the second one, all these are always draw a card. Twister. Increase gene pool by 1 or draw a card. Unbreakable. Opponents return 1 effectless trait pile to hand. Draw a card. And then Vanity. Opponent returns 1 effectless from trait pile to hand. So those are our Rush cards. Then we have our Echoes. Oh, so this is kind of neat. So you have Echoes or a Rush. Which, if we go back and we read this for Rush, it says before the start of your turn, play a Rush effect. So you can use this right away if you'd like to. I'm going to drop one of these down so I can just kind of keep track of those. So you have Broken Promises. So for Echo, it has 2 colors on it. So it says after playing a trait of specified color, you may echo it by playing another trait of the same color. So either a blue card to a blue or a purple to a purple. So neat. So if you play 1 blue, you can play another blue right after this. It says Alien. So is that like William, Caitlin, who knows? We have Cataclysm. It says purple to purple or red to red, or Rush is draw 2 cards. So these ones have the Rush lets you draw 2 cards, kind of interesting. Translator, so green to green or blue to blue. And then we have 0 Point Module, which is red to red or green to green. So it's all we get for the Echoes, but it's all you really need. They're going to cover all the different colors, basically. We have Mutate, Black Silk. So Mutate, again, says choose 1 trait from your trait pile, mutate it by placing it on the bottom of your deck. Then place 1 trait of the specified color to replace it. So you're going to move one of your traits to the bottom of your pile, or bottom of your, bottom of the trait deck. Choose 1 trait from your trait pile, mutate it by placing it at the bottom of the trait deck, and then place another one. So you're basically changing one of your cards to a blue or a green. Rush is you discard a card from your hand. Why would you want to discard cards? So that way when you stabilize, you can draw more cards. So here we have Dragon's Tales, which lets you mutate a red or a purple. I like that the Rush is the same on all of them. That's kind of helpful. We have Tiny Shells, which are green or blue. We have Wandering Root, which lets you mutate a purple or green. And then we have a Heart of the Woods, which lets you mutate any of the 4 colors. So that's pretty cool. Alright, then we have Adapt cards, which are pink. Ghostly Boots. So Adapt says, play any trait with an action and ignore it. Then adapt it by playing an action from any trait pile with the specified color. Treasures can also adapt effectless traits. So, I play a card with an action, but I don't get to use its ability. But then I get to play either a purple action or red actions. By playing an action from any trait pile of the special... Yeah, so basically you gotta sacrifice an action on one of your current cards to play a new card. So that's kind of neat. So I have an action card in here I can grab quick. Yeah, so it'd be like if I played Vigilance, for example. It says discard 1 card, then play its action. I could ignore that, just play it for the 2 points, but now I could play a purple or red action instead. And then Rush lets you stabilize to 5. That's kind of neat. So instead of drawing cards or discarding, you just get stabilized up to 5, which could be helpful if your gene pool is low, too. The Malforms lets you adapt to any color. So you just have the 2 of them, though, right? That's interesting. So either purple actions, red actions, or any color. So you don't really get to do it for the rest of them. Odd. So they wouldn't have had more of those. Alright, well then we have blue, which are cloaks. So it says, prevent a steal, excluding dominance. And then Rush is, this is a box of rainbows. It says, place a face value of 2 or lower and ignore its action. So, play in response to a specified non-dominant effect. So, that's very specific. So, the other one is reflecting glass, preventing action. So, interesting. And then the last one we have are just treasures. They're yellow cards. So, you have Fortune and Glory. These are the ultimate treasures. They kind of allude to them on the first card. So behold the unique abilities which create increase your points. That's like the special treasures of all treasures. The friends along your way. So we have Fortune and Glory. It says draw 4. You may choose not to stabilize. Someone's trash. Shuffle the coffer pile and draw 2 treasures from the coffer pile. Or Rush, draw 2 cards from the top of the discard. So, okay, that's why they have this listed. I was like, why do they call it the coffer pile and just not the discard pile? Because discard pile refers to the traits discard pile, and that way you can keep it as a separate thing, so you don't have to mention which discard you're talking about. Makes sense then. The wisdom stick, preview the next 2 ages, or preview the last 2 ages. I'm assuming that means, so if I play this on turn 1, or I'm assuming this, the last 2 ages means the last catastrophe and then the last age right before it, not the 2 you just played. I should have said the final 2, maybe. We have the friends we made along the way. Cal grabbed the hero's hand and shook him like a maraca. The hero was tickled. I like promises. Rush, play 2 and stabilize ignore actions and skip your turn. Alright, so the last card we have for this set is I have a foil. So they started putting in foils for these cards. And I got a shiny version of Malform. Which is kind of neat. So it's just going to list it as card 20 of 26. It has an E for epic rarity. Has a little extra icon. Now, I'm not going to go through it in this pack. I'm going to do another video about this, but we do have the 7 holofoil mysteries for Enderas and Imaginary Ends, which is the previous big set. And that's what you're going to get in there. It says, contains 100 plus 20 traits, treasures, and other wonders. So this is just going to give us foil versions of some of these cards. So we'll do a separate video on that. Alright, so the very last thing I want to look at, just talk about for this expansion quick, is some of the previous ones. We had one of the older sets that also had Techlings from way back when. So they just have the little tiny symbol up here instead of like the new ones, which would have it on the side there. I don't know if at some point they ever reprinted these and had them, but they also had attachments as well. So if you buy both of the original expansion with Techlings and you get the new one, you could definitely just combine them together and have even more Techling cards to play with. And they have, a bunch of different attachments in there as well. I think almost most of them are attachments. And the same thing, there have stuff there that might affect that. Then we have more Mythlings in here as well, which is one of the other original expansions. They don't have any special magic cards in here. That's a brand new thing. But they'll have stuff that gets +1 for all Mythlings in there as well. Some different things like that. So we're going to get some interesting stuff in there. I think that's some pretty powerful effects. And then we also had Dinolings from the original ones, which just had bigger effects on some of them. But they had the little dino symbol up in the top. So yeah, there were the 3 other ones. So if you bought this expansion with that, we had 15, I think, in each. Yeah, 15 or 16, plus you had an extra age and extra catastrophe in each one. So you had 15 plus the 27 from each of those. Gives you a decent number of extra cards to play. Additionally, I also want to point out another expansion, Imaginary Engines, another variety pack like this one. In the original one, you can also buy as a multi-pack as well at some point. They originally sold them separately. But this had the Deeplings, Moonlings, Glitterlings, but this had another Fuzeling set. So I don't know if there's anything that's ever going to specifically mention Fuzelings, but this is going to mention the other creature types. So they work well by mixing those. So you don't... I just kind of want to point out, so if you're like, oh, I should pick up some more Fuzelings. You could, but they're really, this one's going to work with those ones, the other one's going to work with the other ones. Mixing the 2 Fuzelings together could be interesting, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything for that. Alright, so that is what we have for our Legend of Enderas booster pack. So yeah, if you're looking for either extra expansions for some of the original stuff, or you're just looking for some new stuff to add to the original base game, definitely a fun thing to do. Again, it doesn't need the base game to play, and I'm just going to leave this as my final thing for it, is it's going to be, what if I own X amount of expansions, or maybe I bought the Overlush full game, full everything, I have all that. Could you play without the base game? Potentially, yes. Because realistically, all you need is X number of trait cards, X number of age cards, X number of catastrophe cards, and you need some sort of gene pool card. So, in which you could just even track that on a piece of paper if you wanted to. So if you had enough cards to make a full deck, you could. So if you bought, like, just all the expansions and you never bought the core game for whatever reason, could you play a game? I'm sure you could. Is it going to be bounced? I have no idea. The same way I said, if you add all 4 expansions to this into one base game, it might not work as well, because you might not get the creatures and stuff you need to bounce. Even the same with Overlush, which is the trading card type expansion to buy everything separate and get random booster packs. The idea was to, like, add single packs in at a time, which were like 10, 15 cards at a time. So almost like one of these little mini expansions each time. But the idea is, what if you just took that entire set and all the cards you had, and you just made a base game out of it? You could. They just might not be bounced. But that's, that's entirely up to you to do. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Come back, check out some more Doomlings. We have some other expansions that came out as well. See you guys later. Bye.